We happened to be driving through Mississippi on our way to Texas and Oklahoma for tomorrow's chase, and it turns out that this supercell that's coming into Meridian and Scuba, Mississippi, is packing 75-mile-an-hour winds and 3 to 3.5 inch hail. So this is the front of it. You can see the bow just above the tree lines where the center of the supercell is. They've already got multiple wind damage out to our west. We're on Highway 45, just south of Scuba and just north of Meridian, Mississippi, right now. We do not want to get into the hail. Kankakee, Illinois, taught us to stay out of that big elephant size 4 inch hail. But we do have a few changes this year. One of them is this up here. We've put a covering over the front windshield, extended it out, just in case we do get into some of this 4 inch hail again. So uh, we decided we want to go ahead and test out the equipment and the cameras. I'll try to give it a little bit of a pan across here. So that's out to the right. This is the center. Like I said, it's got 75-mile-an-hour winds, 3 to 4 inch hail, and lots of lightning coming this way. It's probably about 15 miles away from us. It'll be here in about 15 minutes. We had a video we was going to try to post of what we were going to be doing to the vehicle. We've been working almost every day on the car. We totally gutted the inside, took the ceiling out, took all the molding out, took all the seats out, and rewired the entire uh, car. I think we've got somewhere over 32 USB C outlets from front to back. All of our cameras and equipment run off of USB C connections. We put in two inverters, front and rear. The rear inverter is running our router, and we've got our own Wi Fi network inside the car now. So we're traveling Wi Fi with a router to be able to Wi Fi and download our video directly into our computer back at the office. So we're also got hard to explain, but our router is connected to two separate internet, like Verizon and one other. So we've got redundancy on the cell phone coverage for our router. We've also got multiple GPS coordinates in here for our tablets and our router to keep track of exactly where we're at. And we've got the opportunity to tie into Starlink, but so far I see no benefit to do that because when you got 40 to 60,000 feet of clouds above you, satellite is not going to be really as good as probably ground connection would be. Actually, we've tested it all the way from Tennessee. I know there were some areas that we used to have dead spots in coming down Interstate 20 from Birmingham into Jackson, Mississippi, and today we've had full 100% Wi-Fi and internet coverage. So we hope we've after putting all the hours we have into this, we extended the roof rack where we carry our tires 22 inches over the front windshield for windshield protection and 5 additional inches out to the sides. We added additional bar light in the front and bar lights to the side. Lake Valley in Indiana, when the Kankakee tornado come through, we couldn't see the damaged houses on the side of the road to be able to help with search and rescue. We didn't have any lights. We've got lights now. So we've done major upgrades on the. We also have an external weather uh, barometer, wind speeds. We'll be able to collect all that from inside the vehicle without any manual instruments. Our PTZ 360-degree camera has not arrived yet, so we did not get a chance to get it installed and probably won't be able to until after June when it does come in. So it's military grade. It's supposed to be top spec'd out with a control console for it. And it should be in by the end of the month. We thought it would be in by the first of the month, but apparently there's a backlog on their inventory, and we won't get ours till the end of April, 1st of May. So while the storm looks like it's moving to the right, that is the supercell spinning, and that's why you see those clouds moving to the right. If you look close, you can see the layers in the supercell itself. There's got to be at least three layers in there. Those layers, pancake looking layers, are caused by the spin of the supercell around the mesocyclone. And the empty space in the center, if this was more daylight and not dusk, it would be probably more of a greenish color inside there where you see the lightning. So I figured this would be a good opportunity. You know, it has had some tornado velocity in it on radar. However, nobody has reported any tornado on the ground. So we think that's just part of this intense supercell is it's going to have some rotation up in the clouds. We don't really expect it to drop a tornado. That doesn't mean it won't. We just don't want to get into the hail core though, where they've reported up to 3.75-inch hail, and that would be softball size hail. So bigger than a baseball, maybe a little smaller than a softball. To really appreciate hail that big, you have to see our Kankakee uh, video that we posted and see just how big that hail was. I could only hold one piece of it in one hand when it got. We called it elephant hail. It was so big. You got your gorilla hail, and then you got your elephant hail that takes out wind chills, radiators, headlights. Took out our headlights. Glad to see everybody joining us today. Again, we were going to post a update video of. We should have been out 2 weeks ago, but we just didn't have the car ready, and the rewiring took a little bit longer, and getting the satellite and big rotating antenna on top took a little bit more time. We had to cut 2 inch 2.5-inch holes in the roof of the car to pull the wiring through for all that. And just want to be sure we waterproofed it really good before we come out to chase this season. This is going to be a very active weekend. We will be live tomorrow, Saturday, Sunday, or Saturday, Sunday, and Monday and Tuesday. Monday may even be a tornado outbreak in the central U.S. to include Tennessee, Western Tennessee, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Missouri, and Arkansas. give you a better look at this, but it's coming in from actually this direction over there by that lumber building. There's the core of it right there. We're in Mississippi, north of Meridian and south of a place called Scuba, which is south of Philadelphia, southeast of Philadelphia on Highway 45. Like I said, basically, we're closer to Meridian than we are Philadelphia. We're on the east side of Mississippi around Highway 45 and Meridian. We're not in the Delta area. As you know, living over in the Delta area, when those storms come across the Mississippi, they intensify. And we talked to some scientists back in February at a scientific conference we went to in Atlanta. And they have done a study on, at least one study's been done on why supercells intensify when they pass over large bodies of water. However, they haven't done any studies on the Mississippi or Ohio River, large bodies of water like rivers. But we know as chasers that when the storms come out of Louisiana and Arkansas and Missouri and cross the Mississippi, they intensify. And generally, Rolling Fork was a good example of that. We watched that one come out of Louisiana, intensify back in March of 2023, and form that big EF4 tornado that almost totally wiped out Rolling Fork and Silver City. But we've actually been in Illinois. Marion, Illinois last year in May was a good example of one that crossed the Mississippi, and we uh, filmed the tornado genesis of that one, and it formed an EF4 tornado after it crossed the Mississippi and went through Marion, Illinois. So we know that there just hadn't been any studies on it, and they're hoping to do more studies on intensification of supercells as they cross large bodies of water. So we've got two cells. So the one over to the left with a lot of lightning in it over this way is actually going to merge right here on top of us. That one will merge with this one coming in from the west, and we're actually going to have uh, the supercell over here is actually the smaller of the two, and it's going to what we call nudge into this big supercell that had the 75-mile-an-hour winds in it, and we'll see what happens when those two merge. Generally, when two supercells merge, we end up with intensification of them and end up with potential for a tornado at that point. And it being, you know, between 5 and 9 o'clock, that's the time we generally see tornadoes, the bigger ones anyway, like the one in Oklahoma last night, Enid, Oklahoma. I don't currently see any rotation. Yeah, Rolling Fork was pretty bad that night. We actually filmed 3 or 4 tornadoes that night, and of course, Rolling Fork, we almost drove into it. It was after Rolling Fork that we put a 24-inch bar light on the front of the car so we could see debris blowing across the road hundreds of feet in front of us. That particular night, we didn't see it until we got right up on it. And then we ended up having to back off of it as we thought it was the Rolling Fork tornado, but actually Rolling Fork dissipated just to our south about 5 miles, and the one that crossed Highway 82 in front of us was a new tornado that formed out of the remnants of the Rolling Fork tornado. So when they occlude, they generally reform to the north, sometimes to the south, but mostly to the north. And it formed right there near Highway 82. And turns out, after the Weather Service surveyed all of it, they made a determination that was a second tornado that formed after the first one occluded. So again, this I may have to reposition the car a little bit to get you a better view of that. So this is the bigger of the two supercells coming in here. Matter of fact, I'm gonna drive up a little bit and see if I can get a better angle on this. So we're gonna go up here this driveway right here, this road, and pull in here and hopefully have a better view of this storm. If not, we'll go back to the location we were at. But this, like I said, this one to the left is actually merging into this big one right here that's coming in. So I think we'll set right here a minute. So this is the bigger of the two supercells. They're going to merge right here on top of us. Um, this is the one that was carrying 75-mile-an-hour winds and 3 to 4 inch hail. This storm should be pretty intense when it comes over. Wish us luck this weekend. Next 5 days is going to be pretty turbulent. We were actually headed to Oklahoma tonight and just happened to see these storms coming through Mississippi and decided to stop and test all the equipment out on it. But the next few days are going to be pretty intense. See if I can zoom out and give you a little bit of bigger view of this. Okay, so these two cells are merging right now. You're going to see the lightning intensify. And while we don't believe it's going to form a tornado, anything's possible when two supercells merge. So the one from the south is what we call nudged into this one here. And as you can see by the lightning, it's beginning to intensify. So we'll see what happens when this thing comes in. We're showing 13-mile-an-hour wind gusts now. I would expect that they're going to go up substantially the closer this supercell gets to us. This storm's pretty big. Since the other one is merged into it, the other supercell has to the south has absolutely no lightning in it. So that's all into this one now. And back up a little bit here. This lightning is going to be very intense when this supercell comes over. As you notice, that round horseshoe part is now moved to the right. After they merged, the one to the left kind of condensed into this supercell, and the horseshoe, what we call the horseshoe area, is now to the right and is very defined, and a lot of lightning coming in. Let me see if I can get up on top of these railroad tracks here. Maybe we can get a better view and get those railroad track reflective signs out. I'm not going to get on the tracks. But there is the, if it was daytime, that center there would be more of a greenish color. Unfortunately, that generally means hail. Not a tornado, but they've got had reported 75-mile-an-hour winds with this supercell. Another one just merged into it, and they've had 4-inch hail just south of here towards Meridian. Yeah, you don't want to drive into that. We did that the other day and lost the windshield. But this is probably gonna have 60-mile-an-hour winds, a lot of lightning, and there's gonna be hail in it. I just don't know how big it's gonna be. We don't see a big hail core right now though, so we've got several radars going in here. Yeah, but well, I hope you're going north and not south. Well, that's not good. You're driving right into it because it's right there about 10 miles. You might want to just sit and find a good place that you might have to get under 10 if you don't want your truck a lot of hail dents in it. You notice I've got what I've got over my windshield. And yes, and that's chicken wire lining it too. Hey, some farmers stopped by to, hey, they've got to drive west. They're going to drive right into this thing. Move the camera a little bit so you can see that defined U shape core of that supercell. This must be pretty. It was moving pretty fast earlier. Once they merged, they must have slowed down. I tell you, the anticipation of something like this coming over the top of you sometimes gets the best of you because you just don't know what's inside that core right there, and the fact that it can produce a spin up tornado, an EF0, EF1, enough to push trees over, break limbs, and get you a little tense for a couple of minutes till it passes over. Like I said, you can see the lightning intensifying now because they've merged. All the energy now is right there in front of the video on the live stream, and according to what we see, it's re-intensifying right now. So I don't know how big it will get before it passes over the top of us. Uh, but I'm sure we're going to have a few lightning flashes, and there'll probably be some hail. I hope it's not big though. Greenville's where we filmed one of those tornadoes the night of Rolling Fork. It was just north of town when it crossed the Mississippi and dropped one up there about 4 or 5 miles north of Greenville. comes the rain part of this. You can see the center of it now is about to pass over us. So the wind gust now is up 27, so they've doubled just since it started raining. We're showing a small hail core about to come over us, but this is the center of this supercell. If there's going to be any rotation, we see it could be right here as it comes over, but I don't think there's going to be anything on the ground. I'm gonna show you what it looked like when these two supercells merged. So watch, the blue dot is us. See those two supercells merge? You've got the one right here that merges into that one. It comes up from the south right there, merges right into this supercell as it comes over the top of us. And that's what we mean by merging supercells. The bottom, the one on the south side, nudged into and in front of the other one. And then we've got another severe storm coming up from behind us that's about to go through Meridian in the next 20-25 minutes. But that's a good example on radar of two supercells merging right here. Bang. If this was a very unstable environment, that would be prime weather for a big EF3 tornado or bigger. But the air here in Mississippi tonight is just not as unstable as it would take for supercell to be able to form a tornado. That's not to say there couldn't be a spin up inside this line of storms, because they all are a lot of discrete supercells merging together. But that's why we decided to stop and go live just to see when they did merge over here on top of us if it was going to drop anything. So that's where we're at. So we're on Highway 45, just north of Meridian, Mississippi. We'll stay here for just a minute until this supercell gets over us, and then we'll go south and try to capture get in front of that other one that's severe warned that's coming up from the south. Yes, we. If you look back at our videos, last March we actually drove through an EF0, EF1 in Illinois. I took the wrong turn to get back on the interstate after we knew it was dropping right on top of us, and ended up driving through it. We couldn't even see the road. We watched two semis get blown over in the ditch on Interstate 64. Um, we punched the core of the Plevna, Kansas tornado. Something I don't want to do again. That was the tensest 30 minutes of my storm chasing career, I think. But that was that tornado easily got up to a mile and a half wide before it hit Plevna. Once it hit Plevna, the Weather Service confirmed officially that it was a mile wide when it hit Plevna, Kansas. But that was a very large wedge tornado that we literally, some houses that we videotaped driving by, uh, 2 minutes later were no longer there. They got hit and destroyed. So, and that was north of Preston, Kansas, where they got hit. But we got them on videotape because I was trying to recreate our route and the position of the tornado. And literally, it had to have passed behind us like 90 to 120 seconds, minute and a half to 2 minutes after we passed some houses. Because by the time we got down to another road and turned around and pointed back to the north and videotape, we caught it coming across Neola. So that one was pretty intense. I wouldn't say we actually drove into it, but we came close enough for that thing to, when you stop sweating and it's so bad you're not even sweating at that point. You're pretty tense. But we have drove through several EF0, EF1s. That's not too bad. You'd be surprised. You may have drove through some bad thunderstorms and never knew you drove through a small tornado. Uh, that's winds 55, 75 mile an hour, somewhere in that area. You could have easily drove through it and just thought it was the worst thunderstorm you'd ever drove through. And actually, you might have drove through a small tornado. Last year we caught most of the large ones. We didn't get the EF5. I wasn't out chasing at that time, and that was up in North Dakota. But we did get the Meridian tornado and got a really good video posted of it forming, the supercell coming across the Mississippi, and then it forming just to the west of Marion, Illinois. And then we were there in the immediate aftermath when it went through Creel Springs. Same thing for the Kankakee, Illinois tornado back in March. Uh, we were filming the first tornado that came down live, and then the Kankakee tornado was ramping up in the background. And we drove into Aroma Park on the west side of the river uh, like a minute and a half after it passed over and devastated that area. No loss of life there. Down the road, another 30 miles in Lake Valley, they did have several deaths, but none in Aurora Park or Kankakee. We try not to drive through any of them, even the small ones. And we certainly don't want to drive or get involved in the hell core that's generally to the north. Sometimes you just can't help it, though. You never know where they're going to drop. And when they do, you could be in the middle of it. So they have put out some. I'm going to take a look at. There's some supercells to the south, about 20 miles. It's getting ready to. We've got two severe thunderstorm warnings over, and they're going to merge as well. So they've got reports of inch and a quarter hail. We've got a pretty strong wind velocity on this one, and it's going to pass right through Meridian or just to the south of the city. Let me look at the velocity here. So again, the update where we're at, we're just south of Scuba, Mississippi, and just north of Meridian, Mississippi. And this was two supercells that merged. We're getting ready to go to the south to catch these other two that's coming through that severe warned. So we got wind gusts almost up to 39 miles an hour here. This storm is still trying to intensify, but you can tell by the increase in the lightning. So it's trying to intensify. However, the two supercells that look like they're going to try to merge south of Meridian, looks like the lightning flashes in them are even more intense. And they're reporting inch and a half hail now in that storm. An EF0 or EF1 would not lift. It may move the car around, but generally it wouldn't lift it. Now, once you get above EF1, EF2 could flip you over. That's why everybody laughs at us about this little car and that we ought to be in a monster truck. But anybody who chases storms knows you don't want to be high up off the ground for air to get under your vehicle because you'll definitely get flipped in that case. So we try to, I think our ground clearance is 5 to 6 inches at most. And we've got it weighted down with our equipment. I have been in 110-mile-an-hour winds, and we just pointed the vehicle into the wind so it wouldn't catch us sideways. And we did pretty good. The car was rocking, but we didn't feel like we were in danger of being flipped. Anytime you pull into wind, just like a boat pulls into waves, you need to go nose first into the wind and let the wind go over and around you and not hit you on the side and end up flipping. California sees very few tornadoes, but y'all get a lot of rain and fires out there. And I'll tell you what, I'll take our tornadoes over your earthquakes any day. Two things I don't want to have is earthquakes and hail. Lightning, we got 4 rubber tires on the car. A lot of cars get hit by lightning, but they don't explode. And But earthquakes, you can't do anything about the ground moving below your feet until Mother Nature's finished. Be sure, glad to see everybody come on board, but be sure to subscribe. We will be going live this entire next 8 weeks. Anytime there's a storm, we're going to be live the next 5 days for sure. And generally, we don't go live and just drive around and no storms. We generally go live about an hour before we get into the mix of things. So it's not like uh, you're not seeing anything. But we do try to go live early enough to give you a background on what's getting ready to happen. Now, we'll be in Oklahoma City and Shawnee and Tulsa and out to the east and south of I 40 tomorrow and probably Sunday. And then we'll work our way back to the east, probably into Missouri and Illinois as it moves up into the upper central U.S. We're going to try to go south and catch these other two supercells that's merging just south of us here, just south of Meridian, Mississippi. Some pretty intense lightning right here. Mostly cloud to cloud lightning, though. It's not a lot of cloud to ground lightning. We're going to go down here to the south where these two supercells are going to merge. So we're just north of Meridian, Mississippi. We're going to go back down to Meridian, just down the road here, about 6 miles, 8 miles. There's two supercells coming in from the south. It's going to merge right south of Meridian. Most of these are turning into quasi-linear storm lines. because how hard it is raining. Put a new spotlight up top, hopefully so we can see debris during a tornado. But Mississippi, we're headed into Meridian here in a couple of minutes. And lightning off to the right of the live stream is two new supercells coming in that's going to be merging just south of Meridian. We're actually headed to Texas and Oklahoma for tomorrow. And saw these supercells coming in that got severe warning and came into Mississippi. So decided to test out some of our new equipment, our new connections. So we know we're in an area that last year we lost a lot of live stream connection because of where we were at so far out in no man's land. But we don't expect that to happen this year with the new equipment that we mounted up on top of the car. And so far, we've been getting really, really good coverage. Apparently, we've got another line of supercells coming in the northwest Mississippi headed to the southeast. All of these are going to be pretty intense, but this whole area is in a drought, just like most of the South is right now. And the farmers down here could use the rain, but they need it to be dry for about a week after this, so they can get the fields and do the planting. It's been so dry down here. Most of central and western Tennessee is under a drought as well. North and central Mississippi needs to be alert and have your radar or your National Weather Service radio turned on until all these storms get through tonight.
saying, love your haircut. Appreciate that. Got another photo or video that somebody sent in. This one is sent in from Indianapolis from earlier. We did have a possible tornado in Indianapolis. Had a lot of trees that have fallen down. You guys do any photos or videos from like Paris, for example, or any other areas? You can send them in to us. Points.maxvelocitywx.com. It's also one of the top points.
Car got flipped in the ditch a while ago when we came through, and all that supercell activity started. Right down here is where the supercell is going to cross Highway 45 here in Mississippi. The lightning you see off to the right of the live stream. So these supercells, there was three supercells down here that all three merged together. That's why you're going to see so much lightning and intensity down here. Literally three smaller supercells merged here in the last probably 10 or 15 minutes into a quasi-linear line of storms. And it became pretty intense. So, but they're not going to last long when they come through. They move into Alabama. But they're going to look pretty impressive here in a minute. You should always track tornadoes if they're in your area. Sitting at home hearing a tornado warning saying, I hope it don't hit our house, isn't going to help you. Unless you get in a safe place away from windows, or it's daytime, get outside and get your eyes in the air. And if you see it, decide what action you're going to take and take it immediately. Two supercells that merged earlier that come through had reported winds of over 75 miles an hour and 4-inch hail. So we've already seen one car went in the ditch back there. Here's another one here. Either hell put them in the ditch or wind blew them in the ditch. You lose your windshield, it's pretty intense if you've never been through there. So again, we're driving into a storm that's basically the combination of three small supercells. That's why the lightning is so intense. Generally, they causes them to re-intensify when that happens. So south of Interstate 20 on Highway 45 just south of Meridian, near the Naval Air Station. Like I said, the lightning's going to get pretty intense here for a few minutes. Now, be sure to subscribe. This was kind of a fluke today that we ran into these supercells in Mississippi. We were actually headed to Oklahoma for tomorrow's event. We'll be going live every day for the next 5 days. And if you're a subscriber, you'll get a notification on your phone that we're going live if you want to join us. We fully expect to see tornadoes tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. It's not hard to drain it out here right now. I like that bar light on top. So again, be sure to subscribe, like the video, and hit that notification so when we go live tomorrow in Central and Eastern Oklahoma, you'll get a notification and ride along with us. We fully expect some tornadoes tomorrow. It's going to be mostly a daytime event. So again, what we're driving into is 3 small supercells that merged right here to the west of Highway 45 in Mississippi. Generally, it creates a pretty extensive light show. I don't think there's going to be any tornadoes in this. So we can see. I think what we'll do is now that we've got an open area, we might sit here for just a minute because it's coming in from our right. Oh, yeah. We're right under it now. So this is Mississippi, just south of Meridian. We're pointed to the south. These 3 little supercells merged and into one big linear line now that's coming through. Should get pretty intense here in just a minute. The lightning's going to be pretty intense as well. If this was Sunday, I'd say we were going to have a bunch of tornadoes with this, but the air just is not that unstable. This is rain that they need down here. But these are or were individual supercells that merged, and they can be pretty impressive lightning wise. We just don't like the hail. And right now, we don't see any hail in this line. But in this area, about an hour and a half ago, they had 3.5 inch hail reported. It's gonna be a noisy one. It's gonna be a pretty impressive little storm here. Apparently, may end up going south on that. Oh man, they've got some impressive supercells to the south, crossing Interstate 55 out of Hazelhurst, Mississippi, and just south of Jackson, headed this way too, with pretty intense wind and lightning themselves. We're gonna we're gonna watch them. They may end up being get a tornado warning on them. Just put out a mesoscale discussion on those storms that's coming in out of Louisiana and Arkansas in the Mississippi. If you're in Mississippi, you're gonna hear a lot of thunder for the next few hours and see a lot of lightning. So this is pointing south. We're south of Meridian, Mississippi, on State Road 45, looking to the south as these storms come south of Meridian. Now, some of this is cloud to ground lightning. So this is not all cloud to cloud at this point. Storm it now has formed a quasi-linear storm line as it moves through Mississippi, headed to Alabama. Letting everybody know it's in the area. It's not just rain at this point. A lot of lightning, a lot of thunder. Not as much hail as there was earlier.
Mhm.
Pretty intense storm mode at that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Oh, that one was close. I didn't even get to two on that one. Woo. All right, that one was close. So we got Supercell. We got storms coming in from the southeast, southwest, coming from the northeast, northwest, all merging right around just north of Hattiesburg. If this was daytime, you'd be able to see them dark clouds above us. They're pretty thick and pretty low to the ground. You just can't see them. Unfortunately, the lightning washes them out. This is Mississippi. We're just south. Actually, we're right at Meridian, Mississippi, on Highway 45. Looking to the south, where all these storms have come together now, forming a quasi-linear line of storms, and they're pretty intense at this point. They're letting us know they're here. We've got more crossing the Mississippi out of Arkansas and Louisiana. This we just happened up on these. We were actually headed to Oklahoma for tomorrow's event of weather, where we fully expect to see tornadoes tomorrow, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. Actually, Monday may end up being a tornado outbreak in Illinois, Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, and Western Tennessee. So we decided to stop. We've been working on our car, chase car. We've done a lot of upgrades to it. Got tired of the wires that was everywhere. We've added 32 USB-C ports throughout the car for all the equipment and cameras to be plugged in, and not only to be powered by them, but also to be able to be downloaded. The entire car now has got Wi-Fi. We're basically a mobile Wi-Fi. We've got an onboard router being powered by an inverter, and we're able to download the videos from all our cameras directly into our office computer remotely through Wi-Fi if we need to. we'll add some more software and technology before the end of the year that's going to allow us to move around on all the cameras. Our rooftop PTZ 360 camera did not come in time. Now they're saying it may be the 1st of May before we get it. They were backlogged on inventory. So it's military grade, and we'll be mounting it on the front. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it. We've extended our roof. You can see it up here through the lightning to cover the windshield for hail, so we don't lose any more windshields this year. That Kankakee tornado pretty much tore us a new one on it. I don't know if anybody up there that came out of there with a good windshield. If you were anywhere near that Supercell tornado, you lost windshield, side windows, back windows. Uh, we actually lost a grill. I had a limb in the front of the car that I couldn't even pull out, so it stayed in there. And probably a good thing we found out it went through the condenser and radiator, and the only thing that was keeping them from leaking is the tree limb that was in them. So we've also got about 15 cigarette lighter plugs throughout the vehicle. The inverters are wired directly to the battery. Woo, that was a good one. So the inverters are wired directly to the battery. We added some spotlights up top, including this one here, to where we can see debris up in the air more. And we've added side lights in Lake Valley up in Indiana during that Kankakee tornado. We couldn't see the damaged houses because electricity was out on the sides of the road. So we added side lights so we'd be able to flood 100 feet off the road or more with our side lights. And in pulling all that additional power, we upgraded the alternator on the car to a 130 amp alternator and had it programmed to the vehicle. And that has added a lot of power into the vehicle for us. I'll give you a little brief look at what it looks like on the inside. We're actually tomorrow and the next day we're going to have a camera mounted behind us. But here's all our radars, so we're able to see everything going on. Here's where the blue dot is where we're sitting as all these supercells combine into that line of storms. We'll be focusing on these here over the next hour and moving on down the road to get into position for tomorrow's storm chase. But we use this radar here. When we split the screen, we're able to see rotation down here and the correlation coefficient to see if there's any rotation in these storms. All the white bullseyes are damaged reports today. The dark ones are severe damage from the wind that came through. So this radar we use for identifying rotation and tornadoes. This one is more of a broad view. It's a different application, so we can see the movement of the supercells and try to get in front of them. So this is more long range. We use this one more for short range. We also got mapping programs up to let us see the area that we're in and cities that we need to get near. Of course, we have our primary one that's going to get us out to Oklahoma at some point. Um, and tomorrow, this whole windshield, where now you see maybe one, two cameras up here. Tomorrow, you see the wires hanging down. There's going to be at least four cameras in the front. We're going to have two cameras out each side and a rear camera out the back. If we had our PTZ 360 up top, then we'd have probably seventh or eighth camera that's up. So the other thing that we added, you'll be able to see it. I'm not going to point the light at it, but we had trouble having enough light inside to see what we were doing to find stuff. So we have added 6 of these LED lights on the inside, and we can light up the inside. There's not a spot on the inside of this car we can't see once we turn on these inside lights. And you can see how dark it is without them. So, a lot of upgrades we did this year. And to get there, we had to totally gut the car. I mean, we literally took all the seats out, all the interior trim out. We took the dash apart. Um, right now, we're watching max velocity, but this was an upgrade on our radio to where it basically operates more like another tablet, laptop for us in here. Uh, you can't see it. Maybe we can. Let's see. So we've got AC plugs running off inverters to power some of our equipment, particularly our Wi-Fi weather vane outside that gives us the barometric pressure, wind speed, and we probably put. Well, I won't put a dollar figure on.
Those are wires reflecting off the windshield. There's no crack in the windshield.
Yeah, nope, those are wires. We'll have all those under that carpet. We keep a black carpet in the dash to keep reflection off the windshield, and all them wires will be run under that carpet tomorrow as we bring our cameras in on the windshield. You won't even see them anymore. These hanging down either, they'll all be hid, and they'll be powering our GoPros in the front, and these will be powering our 4K and 5K cameras out the bottom of the windshield, giving us a little bit different perspective on the car. But our biggest upgrades has been all these USB ports, AC ports. Uh, that's a 10-inch. We took out our double DIN radio that came with the vehicle and upgraded to a 10-inch Android Assist device. So that's actually YouTube on our car radio, with max velocity right now on it. I'm sure he don't mind us giving him a plug. Sometimes it's Ryan Hall. If we're doing local, we've got a Nashville weather group that we watch when we're local. Just depends on what we're doing at the time. But our biggest important thing is all of our radars that we've got. So we've actually got another. So there's our navigation. That's Lisa's job, is navigating us around to get us to the next place we need to be without getting us on back roads or dirt roads. We both monitor the radars. My job is to put us close to the tornadoes without getting in the tornadoes. And Lisa's job is to get me around the tornado and not driving into it either. Max and Ryan does a real good job. Wherever we're at in the country, if they're live, then we go to them. We can actually split screen that radio in the car now to show both of them simultaneously, which is funny. We've actually tried that, and it's funny. And then, like I said, tomorrow you'll see. Right now we got one video camera going, but we'll have probably 5, not including the video camera. We'll have 5 more cameras, GoPros, and 5K cameras in the front, 2 out each side and 1 out the rear. So this is kind of, you've got your man cave and your woman cave. This is a storm chaser's cave, paradise. When you've got a car, you can drill holes through the dash and mount extra USB plugs. I mean, I've even got a USB down here on the side to power the YouTube cameras. Be coming out of this side. And like I said, we put several more cigarette light plugs down here, the blue lights. I've got USBs behind me. We got USBs and all the down posts throughout the car, all the way to the rear of the car. And then I can't show you right now, but we've got what looks like a Doppler radar up top. And that is a 2,000 feet it powers a 2,000 feet Wi-Fi amplifier system that is actually connected to two main cell phone carriers, and if necessary, we can go to Starlink. But so far, I don't see a benefit to Starlink with cloud coverage, and we've been in areas where we've known we've had no cell coverage today, and we've had excellent Wi-Fi coverage with the new system up top and the antenna. So the big thing that we've got, I'm bad about leaving stuff on when we stop at a hotel, but you got to see this. This is kind of our Batmobile thing. But in the armrest is our main power on, power off. So when we turn that off, it turns all the power to the vehicle on the inside of the car to all the accessories off when we turn that main uh, battery switch. So it's hid inside the armrest, but like I said, under the armrest, uh, we got a power disconnect, 300 amp power disconnect to be accurate. So this is what so we're not sitting in here with just one phone and one shooting YouTube. We've got several resources, hopefully to keep us safe, keep us out of the way, and we probably know more about where the storms are than the locals do that's driving around us because we've seen cars, we've seen semis, and others just drive right into storms because they're totally oblivious to what's going on. But if they see a storm chaser on the side of the road not moving, probably they shouldn't be moving either. Nope, it's a 300 amp. So wattage, it takes 12 watts to make 1 amp. So a lot of people don't realize that when they're putting bar lights on their Jeeps and off-road trucks and all that, if it's a 240-watt light bar, then they're going to be pulling about 20 amps with that light bar. And so I didn't want to calculate the car based on wattage. We calculated the car on amperage and made sure we don't have any USB ports that are not at least 96 watts, because you have to divide that by 12 to get the number of amps that hookup will give you. And we've got this big bar light on top, like this one here, that we can turn on that lights up way out in front of us. Um, that is actually pulling 320 watts, which it pulls by itself over 20 amps. And each of the cell phones and tablets are pulling 3 to 4 amps. So you just have to figure that, if you buy something out of the store and it's a 45-watt phone charger, it's going to charge about one phone or one small tablet that pulls up to 3 to 4 amps. And so this disconnect that we have in the center console here under the armrest is literally 300 amps. It's coming straight off the battery. And from that switch, it goes out to the rest of the car. We wanted to be sure we had a main power cutoff. Uh, you're probably right, but this is the large, as far as the size of the setup, we've got, by the way, so we don't just have a power cutoff. We have three fuse boxes mounted in the car, one under each seat that powers the individual. So each one of those are able to power up to 150 amps. Everything's on fuses. Then we've got a little bit smaller fuse block in the trunk. It powers just our internet and our Wi-Fi, so we can stay totally connected. So the fuse box in the trunk powers an inverter, uh, a couple of cigarette lighter plugs, and a couple of USB-C ports to keep our internet and Wi-Fi constantly active and not pulling power away from the rest of the car. But like I said, we upgraded the alternator on the car to 130 amps, which gives us an extra. I believe we had a 90 amp alternator, so we're up to 130, and had to take it and have it programmed to the car. Should have done that 2 years ago. Plenty of power. We are losing. Um, Correct. So I'll tell you exactly what the system is based on. So I used to run ambulance services, and we had to rewire some of the ambulances to carry more electrical power for the equipment that we use, and we'd run big inverter systems. Um, but this whole car is set up like a motorhome RV that you'd have all your internet, TV, cell phone, laptop, Wi-Fi, for the entire motor home wherever you traveled in the country. That's exactly the system that we put into this car, except it's more of a guerrilla system. It's actually more powerful than what you have in an RV to be able to stay connected, both internet, Wi-Fi, cell phone, and GPS. After that last chase in Kalamazoo, this car wasn't ready, so we actually took Lisa's SUV, and the hail damage was so bad, plus that tree in Lake Valley that fell over in front of us that we hit, they ended up totaling out her SUV. So she took a lot of equity out of that vehicle. She'll be getting a new SUV once we get through with this chase season. So it wasn't just the windshield. After we lost the windshield to that elephant hail, that softball size hail, we ended up that tree in Lake Valley that fell over the main highway there right in front of us, and we didn't have bar lights on that vehicle to see it before we got up on it. That's what ended up putting the limb through the front of the vehicle and causing most of the damage. Plus, there was baseball size. It was softball size hail, but it was causing baseball size dents all across the roof and the hood and the sides of the car. That was a Chevrolet Traverse, and we were hoping they wouldn't total it out. But at the end of the day, we're kind of glad they did, and she'll get a new SUV out of it. That was pretty intense. We don't want to do that again. That was the first time. That's the first time that we had lost an entire windshield just to hail. And if there was anybody chasing that storm, I don't know really of any storm chasers that got out of that storm with the windshield intact. Some even lost their side windows and their rear windows. We didn't lose side and rear, but we did lose the front windshield. And then that tree kind of put the icing on the cake for that car. Um, but we're gonna move out of this position. We just decided good time to fire the equipment up and in front of these supercells that's coming in because you never know what's going to happen. And the lightning show's been pretty nice tonight. Well, I don't know if the tree physically hit us, but the tree fell down and we drove into it. You couldn't see it. I mean, it literally, we were right there. The wind was high. It was dark. It was nighttime. That just shows you can't see 100 feet in front of you at night with headlights. We've got two bar lights on this one. I really like this new one we mounted on top. It goes, you can't really tell it now because it's got the headlights and all on, but it'll light up. It's supposed to light up 500 to 1,000 feet in front of us. We got another one at road level because we've been in thunderstorms so bad you can't see the white lines on the road. And when you can't see the white lines on the road, you need a bar light up front, low. The one that we don't have it on now, but the one we do have on, just show you the difference. I'm going to turn these amber lights off, and and you'll see we're going to lose almost total visibility in front of us. So that's regular headlights with nothing else. And then when we add the amber lights, we can see everything. The amber lights are actually, we run them a lot, probably more than anything. I'd advise everybody that if you don't have amber lights in your fog lights, put amber lights in there. Change the bulbs out and make them amber, because it gives you, it's like wearing those hunting glasses that gives you that dusk at night where it lights it up. That's what amber lights do on a car at night. It lights up all the trees, all the road, everything. Well, we wouldn't call it a mobile command center, but we'd certainly we have the resources inside to keep us safe, and we really feel good about this new. We put a roof rack. That's just a roof rack, but it's probably designed for a full size SUV. But it comes 22 inches over the front windshield, and we're from the side. It looks like it covers the whole windshield, so it doesn't impede, as you can see, our cameras. We'll be able to put our cameras up without it impeding it, but it'll give us coverage for the windshield from hail coming down. And that was the biggest thing we were looking for. So a bigger roof rack. We extended it. It's so big, it comes 5 inches off each side of the car and 22 inches over the windshield. And then we have another covering of the back windshield, since this is a sedan. It's got a slanted back windshield, and I worry about that one more than I do anything. And we've got a special covering over it. The other thing we did after Kankakee, we had shards of glass all in the car when the hail hit it. We put a plastic clear covering on the inside of the front windshield. You can't even see it with the camera, but it's a clear coating, just like you put tint on your windows. And they thought we wanted something fancy with UV light and all, but you can't do that and have cameras shooting through it. So it's just a real clear. So if the hail ever does hit the windshield and break it, or if anything hits the windshield and break it, we won't have shards of glass coming inside the car at all. It'll stop that. Well, the hail never made it through the windshield on our vehicle. It did on others, but on ours we just had glass everywhere because the inside of the car glass broke. We're going to chase the next 5 days. Actually, we're out here for the next 7 weeks. So we know we're going to be live the next 5 days. Monday, they're expecting a possible tornado outbreak in Arkansas, Missouri, Illinois, Western Tennessee, and Western Kentucky. So we'll definitely be out the next 5 days. We actually wasn't going to go live tonight, except we ran into these supercells coming through Mississippi and decided to go live to test all the equipment out and the Wi-Fi. And, once we get off here live, we're going to actually send this video directly back to our office computers. And we've added you're not going to believe this, but we've added 50 terabyte of hard drive space back in the office. We can easily shoot a terabyte of video a day with all of our cameras on one chase. So we've added 50 terabytes of data back on our main computer system. And and we're hoping, based on what we've set up, is that having our own uh, Wi-Fi system in here in the car that we control, that's heavily boosted by a very expensive antenna on the outside. I mean, we had to cut a two to 2.5 inch hole through the roof, two of them actually, to run all the cabling from the antennas on the outside into the units on the inside. to give us the coverage. And so far, areas that we wouldn't have had any cell coverage today, we've had 100% Wi-Fi and internet to give us that contact we need so that we don't lose our YouTube feed. If any of y'all were watching some of the Chasers last night in Enid, Oklahoma, they were losing some of their YouTube and their connection, and it was garbled, and then you could hear them, but you couldn't see them. All that's because you don't have good pickup and transmission. I believe we fixed all that. It's not 100% guaranteed. I mean, there's areas out to the western Kansas and Oklahoma and Texas that we may actually get in areas where we don't have coverage. But our system is actually tied into two major cellular carriers, and if necessary, we can tie into Starlink. I don't believe Starlink is going to be able to help us, but we'll see. Yeah, I heard about Reed and TIV2 getting in the middle of that tornado and in it. I have not seen the actual video yet. I was up to daylight this morning, actually finishing up the car so we could leave and grabbing a few hours sleep before we got on the road. So I haven't seen their actual video yet, but to have everything we've put together this year uh, is pretty cool. So we should. So technically, here's the stats. We got 32 USB-C ports, maybe a little bit more than that. We've got 12 regular USB ports throughout the car. We got 2 inverters. We upgraded the alternator and the battery to give us more power. We'll have 5 cameras, at least 5 cameras out the front, not including the video camera. That'll be 6. We'll have 2 cameras out each side. If our PTZ 360 had came in time, we would have it on the roof right now. We don't even know what we need to wire yet, but what we did do is we cut a separate hole in the roof with access and went ahead and ran power wires and antenna wires up there to connect into the PTZ cameras. Military grade. I believe Reed Timmer's getting one, or he's actually mounted one just like it on his. I don't know if it's the same model or brand, but I saw what they mounted because I talked to him in Huntsville back last year. I think it was around September, August, September. After that, he got spun around in that Huntsville tornado. That they were getting one, and we were trying to figure out how to put it on the roof, keep it cool. They had found some miniature AC systems. I had found some cooling fans. Anyway, going to a military grade camera, you're going to pay a little bit more. I think we're going to have about $2,000 in that camera alone on top. But we don't have to worry about all that. It's military grade. It's IP67 or better. Should handle, if it can handle a war zone, it should be able to handle a tornado zone. So we'll see. I hope to have it mounted before the end of summer. Since we're going to be out the next 8 weeks, I know it's going to take a week or two. We've talked to one of the TV stations, engineering guy that may help us coordinate how to mount it up on the roof. It's a little bit fancier than what they've got on their TV station vehicle, but he said the wiring and all should be the same. We just got to be sure that the controller that comes with it, and we're pretty sure because we told the manufacturer we wanted a package deal with one that could tie into a YouTube stream. And it's truly a 360 camera that can go in any direction, and it does a 90-degree up and down movement. So we hope to have that. This is the real kicker, and I can't tell you details about this, but the potential is in the fall, and we may have to apply for a grant to get this done because we're trying to team up with a university research. We went to a research at Georgia Tech meeting. They had some of the Marshall Space Center scientists and uh, uh, National Severe Storm Director was there from Norman, and I mean there was like 60 scientists that are studying severe weather and tornadoes was there. We're trying to team up with one of the university systems. There's some complications with public-private coordination on research, since technically we're not a 401c3 company. We have to make sure, or they do on their end, since they're nonprofit and a university system, that they can do a working agreement with us supplying all the video and field information, because we really want to do some research on a couple of things that are important to us. But there's a good possibility we're going to have a miniature Doppler radar system on top of the car either by the end of this year or certainly by next storm season. It's going to give us a 5 to 8 mile coverage. It'll be color Doppler radar, and the array on the Doppler will give us 500 to 5,000 feet coverage to be able to pick up any debris up in the air inside of maybe a rain wrapped tornado where we can't see it. We'll be able to see the debris on the Doppler radar system and be able to get, it'll also track the direction of the movement of the debris. So if there is a tornado hidden in a rain wrapped system, we'll be able to see the debris and what direction it's moving in. I can't tell you details about that. I can't tell you what company we're collaborating with to get that done. It's all kind of, experimental at this point. It seems cool. It's been done. I've seen some of the results of it. It's quite expensive. We're looking at $8,000 or $10,000 just to put an 18-inch to 22-inch Doppler radar on the car to be able to do what we want it to do. But we're going to feel 100% more safe if we do and are able to get that mounted. We've already put the mounts in. We've already put the electrical wires in place. All we've got to do is mount it on the top, and we've got access to run the cabling already in the car. When we were cutting the holes, we cut a third hole just for that Doppler radar system that we're looking at to mount in the fall. Unfortunately, we're looking at between $6,000 and $15,000 for that system. But we figured I can't tell you. I can tell you the background is I'm from Pensacola. Used to be an emergency manager. We tracked tornadoes, mostly hurricanes down there, and how we did it. And I said, there's got to be a system in place that we don't need a full. That we don't need a full, 150, $250,000, and we've learned something at that scientific conference in Georgia that turned us on to this. And when they did, I did a lot of research on it, made a couple of calls to a manufacturer of equipment, certain equipment, and sure enough, they already had that capability, but nobody ever asked them about it. Do they have the ability to put a ground Doppler on a mobile vehicle and pick up debris in the air above 500 feet? So we don't want to pick up cars. We don't want to pick up trees. We may pick up some of the tops of some trees. However, the big thing is after we get past the half a mile, we'll be picking up 1,000 to 5,000 feet off the ground up to 5 to 8 miles away from the vehicle, which is absolutely great if there's a rain wrapped tornado. That's all the details I can tell you about that. We're excited about all the new technology that we've got on the vehicle this trip for the next 8 weeks and the rest of this year. But that is going to be a coup, I think. And the company that we talked to, who already had the technology but never had put it in place for something that we had asked them to experiment with us on, and they're pretty excited too about taking their technology to a new level and using it for a totally different use than what it was used for before. We, you're gonna be shocked on what we're in, and I hate to. I'm generally a Chevrolet or a Dodge guy. However, we are in a Ford Focus, a 2007 Ford Focus. This car is so underrated for the time it came out in 2006 and 2007, this particular model. This engine, we've got 208,000 miles on it, and I fully expect it to make it all the way through this year without a problem. So we may end this year with about 275,000 miles on it, and it's still purring like a cat. The transmission, we've had no problems with at all. Unfortunately, after the Plevna, Kansas tornado, our mechanic, this from November to now, we had to replace every broken motor mount. Every wheel bearing was gone. Just because we're always in water, wheel bearings don't do well in water. And all the hard braking, hard turning, the car's a little overloaded in weight for equipment. We lightened the load this year by about 150, 200 pounds, but end up adding back 100. And so we're in a little Ford Focus. It's considered a small car, not even a medium sized car, but the capabilities of this car is absolutely, I love driving it. Next year, if we add the Doppler, we may end up having to size up into an SUV. I'm going to really miss this car. I mean, it drives this chassis that the Ford Focus was built on in 2006 and 7 is the same chassis that the Mazda MX-3 was built on, the sports car. So we changed the entire undercarriage on it to a sports undercarriage. We added in heavier springs. We added in better steering mobility around corners. Uh, I have 100% confidence in this car. And even though the speedometer says 140, because like I said, it's built on a sports car chassis, and the engine, a four cylinder, can literally, its speedometer reads 140. We're never going to see that. I'm never going to see 100 on this car. We just don't speed during storms. There's no reason for it. Speed, I used to be a paramedic before I was an EMS director and then an emergency manager. Uh, Speed kills. That's all. You cannot control a car, I don't think, even reasonably over 80 miles an hour. We even held our ambulances to 5 to 10 miles over the posted speed limit, even on emergency transports. There's just no need for it. A few extra seconds does not is not important enough for everybody's life. No, no trucks. Trucks set up too high. Dopplers don't get near the storm anyway. They stay out a couple of miles to get a good beam. You know, Georgia Tech, you think about Georgia Tech, we went to that research meeting there uh, as a college or university, but it's not. It's actually a resource center, a research center. And we found out the new, I'm trying to remember, it's considered a par radar, but most of the radar guidance systems for the military, apparently they're funded heavily by the DoD, and then the universities that Georgia Tech affiliates with funds the rest of that university research program. And I mean, we saw slides of stuff that was clearly marked "Do not copy, replicate, or distribute" on some of the stuff that we saw that they were working on. But we do know that one of the radar systems, and I know it's public because we're using it now, and I think we've actually got some to Ukraine. But apparently, the refresh rate on the Doppler radar is like 3 to 5 minutes. That's why your radar that you see is never real time. It's always 3 to 5 minutes old. Last year, we even had times that we needed it as quickly as possible, and it was 15 minutes old when we saw it. We're hoping the Wi-Fi system in the car this year speeds that process up, but the radar that they've designed that may be able to be used at low altitudes, because most Dopplers won't see below 5,000 feet. Anyway, that's what the National Weather Service officers are telling me when we call them, that they can't see below 10,000 feet, like the Nashville tornado warning last April, when we were following that cloud and that tornado into South Nashville. There was no tornado sirens going off. I mean, there's almost 1 million people in this area with no tornado sirens. They said the reason we haven't triggered the tornado sirens is we can't see any rotation below 10,000 feet. And I said, well, I'm videotaped it. I'm live on YouTube. Turn it on. I'm sitting here looking at it. It's almost on the ground. Somebody better warn somebody. So it wasn't but a few seconds later that they went ahead and turned on the sirens there in Franklin and Brentwood area and Antioch, uh, because without eyes on the ground, they can't see below 5 to 10,000 feet sometimes. But this new radar, PAR radar system, has a refresh rate as fast as 15 to 20 seconds. And instead of going in a circle, the beam is going back and forth like a hand wave. And it's able to see below 5,000 feet. In my understanding, this is a technology that we're using that's so encrypted it can't be, our drones are not going to be able to be knocked down. But this system, if I remember right, 300 to 3,000 enemy drones can be knocked out of the air within a minute using this new radar system that can not only detect them, but it can beam out the codes to stop them and drop them out of the air. So some of the technology we found out about led us to this Doppler, color Doppler radar system that can be mobile. It's already being used in a mobile environment and has since its development, but never was intended for the purpose that we called them about, and they were excited to hear about. So, without telling you any more details, I can't tell you the company we work with. Can't tell you, what the unit is. I can tell you that the round Doppler dome is 18 to 22 inches in diameter. It's very light. The array beam is pretty powerful out to about 8 miles, and it'll be able to pick up debris 500 to 5,000 feet after a quarter to half a mile. So that's the purpose that we wanted it for. That's the parameters that we asked for, and they said their equipment currently does that without modification. So the biggest problem we've got with that system is we have to have a receiver in the car. And unfortunately, they don't make miniature receivers at this point in time. So we're trying to find out where do we put that radar receiver screen to be able to see the Doppler. And not only will it pick up the debris, it'll show you the direction that the debris is moving in. So that's our biggest holdup. That may be the reason we have to upgrade to a bigger vehicle, is to be able to mount that screen in the vehicle. And I can tell you it's quite big. It's 12 inches or bigger. And that's a large screen. That's like 3 of our tablets in here. I thought the 10-inch radio screen that operates like a computer tablet was big, but our key point here is you need a dependable vehicle that's cheap on cost. And this Ford Focus that we're in used to be cheap on gas. We get 28 miles a gallon. Once we added the upgraded alternator, which puts wear and tear on the engine, and we added the larger roof rack up top, we've lost 8 to 10 miles per gallon. Basically, is what we're figuring this trip. It's took a major. Basically, we're getting 18 to 20 miles a gallon where we were getting 28 to 30 miles a gallon. So this is going to be an expensive chase season. We got to go down and catch Interstate 20, head towards Oklahoma. But anyway, our emphasis this year has been on technology, connectivity with Wi-Fi and internet, so we don't lose our feed, and the ability to get updated radar. Now, if, like in Enid last night with the storm chasers, it wasn't just a matter of they couldn't get connectivity. It's the fact that the tornado may have been taking down cellular towers. And that's happened to me at least once. I was in Broken Bow, Oklahoma. It was nighttime. Lost all my radars about 15 minutes before it came through Broken Bow. And I was pretty sure I was in a safe place. Obviously, I made it through. But when cellular towers go down and you've only got the antenna on your phone to go by, or the antenna directly on the tablet to be able to pick up a much further away tower, that doesn't work. You're just going to lose everything. We feel that the system that we put in place, which, like I said, is kind of a upgraded Gorilla RV internet Wi-Fi system for motorhomes for travel across the country. So you've got, there's some people that work out of a motorhome and need connectivity all the time for work. This is the same system truckers use to track their trucks and to be in contact with them at all times. Obviously, military has to track their unmarked semi-tractor trailers. Part of the things we learn as emergency managers is, all those rockets that they build out in Huntsville and other places, they don't put them on planes to fly them around the country. They're on trains or semi-trucks. And they have to track those trucks and those train cars that's got our ammunition on them constantly. And this system that we have in our car is a similar system to how they track 24/7 military transports. And because you can't put a bunch of bombs on a C-130 or a C-4 or any of the other big cargo planes to move them around the country. That's just an accident waiting to happen, and a lot of casualties at the same time. So we're pretty confident. We like the technology. I learned a lot working with the military in Pensacola. Learned a lot working with the Air Force out of Biloxi. We learned a lot at Georgia Tech's meeting. I think we were one of only 6 people that didn't have doctor in front of our name at that conference back in February. Very appreciative for Georgia Tech having their first severe weather conference, which was scientific based on scientific studies and giving us a little insight into the new systems coming down. Doppler, NexRad, all that's going to be outdated here in just a few years, and the new systems will be put in place. For weather radar, most of the country isn't even covered. And secondly, we need to be able to see below 10,000 feet. It's great to see, oh, we got debris floating up at 20,000 feet. It would have been great to know that there was a tornado on the ground because we could actually see it on radar below 10,000 feet before it got to the point it was hitting objects and lofting debris up above 10, 20, 30, 40,000 feet in the air and say, oh, we got a debris field. Well, we could do better on the notifications and warnings if we could see, and they are working on the radar systems. It's going to be able to see below 10,000 feet. Uh, I was kind of in awe of the amount of rain that was sitting in the room with us. I will post a video of that to some degree. We did do a group shot up on the stage, and but these people are cutting edge. A lot of them was on the Vortex project, and went on to head up big research departments at universities around the East that was at the conference and gave presentations. And like I said, Dr. Carlos from the Severe Storms Lab, he's the director of Severe Storms Lab, was there. We got to ask extensive questions and see that we have not done a lot of research on areas that we've seen in the field and wonder, what can you tell us about what we're visualizing, and say, well, we haven't done a lot of research on that. We know it's happening, but we don't know why it's happening. And they don't have a direct hotline to Mother Nature to pick up the phone and say, what are you doing today? So it's interesting how they're going about it. But the technology is just, we haven't even scratched the surface of what the new technology is going to be. I'm, it took us 2 months to wire this vehicle with all the technology that we've got and working full time. I work in the ICU at a hospital there in Nashville, so trying to work that and all my days off, put this car together and wired, and actually have to do a lot of research to bring myself up on how to wire a good system in place to be safe and have enough power. Learned a lot. Second time around, if I have to do it the second time around, there's going to be a lot of changes. I'm not going to put as many man hours into it because I know how to do it this time. And the only thing we didn't take out the inside of the car was the carpet. I'm going to tell you, you want to take the carpet out if you're running wires through a vehicle. It's a pain in the butt to have a guide wire under the carpet, trying to tie wires to it and pull 15 wires under the carpet and run them in different directions to give you the connection points throughout the car, and then put 3 fuse boxes in to control the power and be sure everything's on the fuse circuit. So tonight was good. We had plenty of coverage, no problems, plenty of power. Again, you saw how much was. I appreciate you subscribing, everybody. If you're on this live feed, or be sure to hit that notification and subscribe. We are absolutely going to be live every day for the next 5 days. We're out for the next 8 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks. When we go live on the storm, I can assure you we're not going to be driving around 3 hours just talking to ourselves. When we go live, we're going to go live an hour or less before we think we're going to be in the middle of the storm. Actually, I like driving. The good thing about storm chasing is you never know where you're going to go. We've seen places and talk to people that you'd never put on your destination list. Small towns. By the way, if you've ever seen the original Twister, and I hate to even say this because if you see the original Twister in a movie or on, drive-in or whatever back then, this is the 30th anniversary of the first Twister movie, and the Waukeeta in the movie is actually a real town in Oklahoma, and this is a kind of a promotion for them. They're having a 30th anniversary on May 15th and 16th for the anniversary of filming that Twister movie in Waukeeta, Oklahoma. So there's going to be everybody who's anybody in the storm chasing community is going to be there. We plan on being there. Population 53, so we got our reservation at the Waukeeta Hilton.
No, 2/10 of a mile stays right. Yes. In 3 miles, they're right. Get on the 21st.
So if you live near Waukeeta, Oklahoma, it's up in the northwest Oklahoma City, about 75 miles. You might want to make a journey if you're really into this stuff. You might want to make that journey. Be a fun Friday, Saturday, or weekend trip. Plus, you might see a tornado while you're out that way. It's prime tornado season. And so that'll be May 15th and 16th in Waukeeta, Oklahoma. I'm sure the Dominator will be there, and Tiv too, and all the other guys that are on here full time more than we are. There's probably going to be a few hundred storm chasers there, not including general public that comes. There's a lot of movie props that was used in the movie there at the museum. Be a good weekend trip if you're close.
Someone's watching from Guatemala.
It's funny. We see these people, you've probably seen some of them. One of them was just from Guatemala watching us. Our biggest audience outside of the United States is Brazil. We have a lot of, if you're online right now from Brazil, holler out because last year one of them said, grab Alan Jackson because we're from Nashville and bring Alan Jackson down here with you. And I said, well, where you at? They were in Brazil. Actually, they were in Chile. And I said, y'all listen to country music in Chile? And they said, well, sure we do. There's country music fans all over the world. So that was kind of funny that they, Jason Aldean used to be my next door neighbor. Nice guy. And most of the country stars, and I've met a bunch of them. George Jones used to live down the street from me. Met him several times and talked to him. Him and his wife, Nancy. Actually, I saw Nancy about a year ago. But, they're regular people to us. They just have different jobs. I know they're stars to everybody, and but they're just really everyday people that we don't bother. I mean, we see. I've seen Vince Gill down at Home Depot. I've seen Winona Judd down at the Franklin Oktoberfest. We see them a lot of places. A lot of people, what Winona you can't miss, but Jason Aldean without his wife beater shirt and cowboy hat and just shorts and tennis shoes and a baseball cap, a lot of people don't recognize him. And it's funny because I've actually stood there in school talking to him. His daughters went to school with mine, and a A lot of people didn't even recognize them. And they're all just good people. You know, they go to McDonald's like everybody else. They've got to go down to the Home Depot and pick up stuff like everybody else. They got to stop and buy gas. You know, Billy Ray Cyrus and his motorcycle, he used to be at the gas station all the time, you know, out riding his motorcycle. Um, his daughter Molly, we used to see her. She'd go when she was doing Hannah Montana. When she came back into town, she would go down to the Walmart late at night with her friends from the high school, and we used to see her down there late at night. Of course, Walmart closes now. It used to be open all night long. And see, we see them. We just don't think anything about it. We're just glad they make music, and unfortunately, what they can sing is totally controlled by the music industry. And they've got a lot of songs that they could sing that they're not allowed to sing. But anyway, that's getting off the subject of storm chasing. And be sure to subscribe, though. Like I said, our biggest group outside the United States, Brazil, followed by India. We've got some Middle Eastern people watch. From France and the UK and Italy. I've actually had people from South South America and over in Africa, particularly southern part of Africa, are big fans. They watch. I was amazed by how many people are on YouTube. While we're out here at night chasing, it's daytime there, and they've still got time to watch us. So, because as you know, the United States is the only place in the world that has this many tornadoes. It's probably, I think Australia's number two. India has some tornadoes, but as far as Europe as a whole, they don't have many tornadoes over there. The weather is just different. They have floods, but they don't have a lot of tornado type weather. And they're amazed by it. The other thing that we are amazed by is we run into people from all over the world that literally fly to the United States to storm chase. Last year at the Meridian tornado, we ran into a group from Germany. This year in Kankakee, at the Kankakee tornado, we ran into a group from Lithuania. And I had to get them to tell me where that was. I'm pretty up on geography, but that one, you know. But there was about six of them. I think it was six of them or seven from Lithuania that was over here storm chasing. Meteorologists from those countries. And it's just amazing. We've had, so Lisa that's with me that navigates, speaks Polish. And we even ran into a group year before last in Oklahoma on a 5 out of 5 risk day from Poland. And because I asked I heard an accent. We were sitting there talking. They had pulled in next to us, and they said, "We're from Poland." And I said, "Then you need to go up and have a conversation with the lady with me because she speaks fluent Polish." And sure enough, they started talking. Sounds to me like they're spitting at each other, but you know, that's like the Dutch. I feel like I need to step back 2 feet. And that's a joke, but I mean, I just don't understand it. I speak a little Spanish, but I'm not real good at it, mostly medical terms, because we have to speak, ask them where they hurt and stuff like that. So I know a few Spanish terms, Lora aquí, things like that. But by the way, from a medical standpoint, we do have medical equipment on board this unit. I was a field paramedic for a while. I was a helicopter paramedic and flew a little bit. I ran critical care transports for many years and actually even started a critical care transport company. get patients from outlying hospitals. We built vehicles specially designed after a cardiac intensive care unit to be able to do those transports. And so and I still work in the ICU, cardiology, interpretation, and treatment recommendation. But I've got an automatic defibrillator on board, an AED. We've got a full medical kit on board. We don't have any advanced equipment on board, but we do have the things that you can use as a good Samaritan. But the AED, you're not going to believe this. I bought it at an estate sale, brand new in the box. As a healthcare provider, I didn't even know that individual families could buy their own AED. And they had got this through Costco, I think. The state company shouldn't have been selling it, but they thought it was an automatic blood pressure machine. And I think I picked it up for about $20. Brand new, still wrapped. So we've got an AED with us. We check it out regularly. I carry extra batteries for it and pads just in case. Most of what we've had to use our medical equipment on is car accidents going to an area to storm chase and back from an area to storm chase. We run into 6 to 8 major accidents on the interstates every storm season, maybe even more than that. And I won't even tell you how many near misses, people cutting us off at 80, 75 and 80 mile an hour, coming around us like we're sitting still. And I know there's been a couple of times, there probably wasn't a couple of inches in between us and them when they came over in our lane. We even had that happen today. However, this year, one of the things I'm really proud of is we put a semi-tractor trailer horn on this little car. So if they try that this year, and we had one do it today, they get to hear like they just pulled across in front of a semi-tractor trailer. And that guy, I got his attention. I've never seen a head jerk so fast in my life as when he heard that horn go off, because he was cutting me off. And I'm very proud of putting that on the car this year. That little horn that was on here just wasn't enough to get anybody's attention, but we can get their attention now. Let's see if this car's far enough in. I don't know if you'll hear it. We have really got a semi horn underneath the bumper cover tonight, this trip. I don't have road rage, but I should have went that way. But I definitely want to let them know that they did something really, really bad that can get people killed. The other thing, I'm going to warn you ahead of time, if you watch our streams, you may hear me hum sometimes in the middle of the worst part of it, but that's something we were trained at as paramedics, and I was a firefighter too. So when you hum wearing a breathing apparatus, you don't use as much air out of your tank, and it keeps you calm. And when I was with the county down in Pensacola as a paramedic, we actually were trained to hum during situations. For some reason, it triggers endorphins in the brain and keeps you calm. It's like letting loose of dopamine or a sedative type brain chemical. And when you hum, it slows your metabolism. Your fright and flight syndrome goes to a minimum at that point. So if you catch me humming, I know it's irritating. Sometimes I don't know I've done it. I've tried to cut back on it. But if you hear it, that's why you hear the humming. I'm not crazy. It's just been, and the reason they told us that, for firefighters, it was to keep from using so much air when they wear a breathing apparatus. If you hum, you're not breathing 20, 30 times a minute. The thing for the paramedics is when you're in the back of an ambulance and you're the only one back there and you've got a mutilated person that's still alive that's been stuff that you only see in horror movies. That's why I don't go to horror flicks or anything like that. I've seen it in real life. I don't want to see it on a movie. Uh, you've got to do something to keep your mind off of what you're looking at and keep focused on what you need to be doing. Because if you let what you see get into your head, you're going to freak out. And we had that happen with staff. And so we'd have to set them down and say, you can't do the job if you let it get in your head. And, there's plenty of jobs for paramedics other than being in the field running emergency scenes. And so, the partial decapitations, amputations. I had one motorcycle accident. The boy told me the only thing that really hurting was whatever was underneath the back of his neck. What was underneath the back of his neck was his right foot because his leg was so broken, it was wrapped around and back under his neck. And we have to deal with that. And you have to, you can't transport him like that. So you're going to have to do something with that leg and make it as unpainful as possible when you straighten it back out to be able to get him in the ambulance. So when you're dealing with stuff like that, they teach us to hum, stay calm, stay focused, do your job. So I've had guns pulled on me. I've been shot. I wouldn't be a cop. They get shot at all the time. If I've got to carry a gun and do my job, but I've had to run scenes where highway patrolmen have been shot at. I've drove into gunfights between police and others. Well, there's a good example. So we knew it was a bad cell. Last year, we would have lost our ability to live stream for minutes. Probably ended up having to shut down the live stream and reopen a new one. So pretty happy with the technology that we've got. It reconnected us almost immediately. So we're going to have a good year. I think what I'm going to do is the storms, according to our radar, has moved out. We got to get back on the road. We haven't ate yet tonight. Get into Texas before we stop. So I know it's going to be after midnight. And I think we're going to shut the live stream down now. Appreciate everybody getting on, listening to our upgrades on our vehicle. I think all of us, including the viewers, are going to be well satisfied with our ability to live stream. And we're looking forward to it. All right, what we're really looking forward to is after this season, looking at getting that Doppler radar installed on a mobile vehicle. I can tell you this much, as far as I know, in the discussions we've had with this company, this miniature Doppler radar, color radar system has never been mounted. So I know the helicopter knew in the helicopters, even decades ago, we had, and this goes all the way back to about 1990. Airwolf looking helicopter air systems grades to it's in Fed looking to see if there was analyzed on a ground-based vehicle, and we found it. And they were shocked as we were. We were shocked that they had it and we didn't know about it, and they were shocked that anybody had ever asked them to mount it in this format for the purpose that we wanted it to use for. And so this should be interesting. However, I don't think it'll be available on the vehicle with us storm season in 2027. It's not something that you just, you can buy it, set it up. I'll tell you about that. Uh, Once we acquire it and we have it mounted on a vehicle, then I'll tell you more details about it. So that's going to be 6 months from now. Our next big technology is going to be that military grade PTZ 360 camera on top of the vehicle. We've got a lot of video we still haven't posted yet from late last year and Kankakee that we're going to get posted. And as soon as we can get it all edited. But right now we're concentrating on this season. We'll be live bells, and when we do go live, you'll pop in, but work, leave, keep you up to date on how far before we run into a storm or a potential tornado situation. So if you have to leave 15, 20 minutes, an hour, and come back, that's fine. So again, like the video, subscribe so you can look at all our videos come up. We've got some really good videos. We've had a lot of comments. This site is absolutely great. Particularly the one that I shot in South Dakota a couple of years ago when a derecho come in with 107 mile an hour winds. They call them land hurricanes. But wow, that was a good lightning strike. But we didn't even know that was coming in on us. There's been no weather report that we were getting Dakota that day to pick up back. Oh my God, where'd that come from? And with the daylight, I couldn't see the headlights in front of my car. And 107 mile an hour winds, according to the 1.25 mile. Subscribe, go out, take a look at them, hit that notification. We're going to go live for the next 5 days in a row for sure. We'll probably put 5,000-6,000 miles on the car in the next week. Come ride with us. Enjoy the show from the safety of your couch or chair, and we'll do the hard work, especially the 500 miles a day driving. We'll see you tomorrow, I hope, and say goodnight at this point. Thanks for joining us. Look up there at that wall cloud in front of us. Is that not something? I wish it was daytime, but the majority of the storms are through, so that's not a new system. That's the backside of the system that just come through. But you can see it better. I can barely see it with the naked eye, but you can see it really good, the differentiation in that wall cloud and the clear air behind it. So we're headed west. That's the clear side of the storms moving to the east, and we'll see you tomorrow. Have a good night.